The rain poured down as if it were trying to wash something away, something that wouldn't be cleansed even by 100 storms. Detective Mark Cooper stood in the middle of an old neighborhood 13 Shenigna Street. Nothing smelled like life here, only decay, damp mold, and something else. Metallic. Blood. Third one in 2 weeks, he muttered, lighting a cigarette. Beside him stood Alina in a new black trench coat, but with the same cold eyes that had seen everything. A criminal psychologist. A woman who had learned not to flinch at the sight of death. No signs of a struggle again, she said, glancing at the body on the floor, now covered in clear plastic. Yeah, and again the smile. Damn it, who the hell is this guy? Alina said nothing. She stepped into the room, scanning a framed photo on the wall. A family. Mother, father, daughter. The victim, the daughter, 23 years old. Pretty, quiet, no known enemies. The next morning, the city woke up in fear. The headline screamed, "Serial killer strikes again." No connection between victims, or is there? Police remained silent. Mark sat in his office, listening to the security camera footage. A dull rustle, then silence. The killer wore gloves. No cameras, no DNA. Just a twisted message carved into the stillness, and the smile. Mark stared at the whiteboard in front of him. 3 victims, all women, all found in their apartments, all with that same unnerving smile, and not a single sign of forced entry. Victim 1, named Alina Shevchenko, age 29, profession kindergarten teacher. Time of death approx. 10:30 p.m. Note found seated in an armchair, smiling. Victim 2, named Julia Lesko, age 30, for profession nurse. Time of death approx. 2:00 a.m. Note found lying in bed, arms folded neatly. Victim 3, named Katerina Volinets, age 23, profession student. Time of death estimated 8:00 p.m. Note sitting at her desk, smile identical to others. All clean, no struggle, no fingerprints, no stolen items, just death. Alina entered the room quietly, holding a folder. I've been analyzing their backgrounds, she said, placing the folder on the table. There's no surface connection between them, but she opened the file to a page with 3 photos, each woman smiling in her own way. They all received anonymous letters 2 weeks before their deaths, handwritten, delivered to their workplaces or homes. No envelope, no fingerprints, all said just one thing. She pulled out one of the notes, carefully preserved in a plastic sleeve. It read, "You have been chosen to smile." Mark felt a chill run down his spine. Why would he want them to smile? Mark asked, more to himself than to Alina. Control, power. He's not just killing, he's sculpting a final image. A portrait of peace, after horror. Alina flipped the page and pointed to a handwriting analysis. Look at the strokes, the way he writes the word smile. It's overly emphasized, underlined, almost like obsession. Mark stepped back. Any matches in the system? None. The handwriting is unique, and I checked databases from several neighboring countries. Mark's phone buzzed. Another body. They drove through narrow streets as rain began again, painting the windshield in blurred shadows. The address 21 Hlybakitska Street. When they arrived, the scene was all too familiar. The victim, a 26-year-old florist named Alina, was found lying on the floor of her shop, smiling. Only this time, something was different. There was a mirror beside her body, and in lipstick, the killer had written. The room fell into an eerie silence as the forensic team worked around Alina's body. Mark paced slowly, eyes locked on the message on the mirror. One of you is next. It wasn't just a threat. It was personal. Alina stood still, her gaze fixed on the smeared red lipstick. Her mind raced, dissecting each word, each stroke. The handwriting matched the notes. Same pressure, same madness. He's changing the game, she said finally. Mark turned to her. What do you mean? Before, he was passive, quiet, a ghost. Now he's taunting, engaging. He wants us to react. Mark clenched his jaw. He's watching us. Or worse. Alina looked at him, a shadow falling across her face. He's among us. Mark didn't reply, but deep inside, a question surfaced. Had they already met him, talked to him? They left the flower shop in silence, the wind howling through the empty streets. The city was holding its breath. Something was coming, and it wasn't going to stop. Back at headquarters, Mark reviewed the footage from a traffic camera near Alina's shop. At 6:37 p.m., a figure appeared, hooded, average height, walked calmly down the sidewalk. He paused at the corner, looked up, straight into the camera. The face was hidden in shadow, but the intent was clear. He knew the camera was there. He wanted to be seen. Alina entered, holding a printout. I found something, she said. Not about the victims, about us. She placed a folder on his desk. Inside a photo, a blurry one, taken from a distance. It showed Mark and Alina standing together, from 2 days ago, after victim number 3. On the back of the photo, scribbled in ink, "Smile for me." Mark's stomach twisted. Where did you get this? It was mailed to my office. No return address. Mark grabbed his phone. We're pulling everything, phone records, security footage around your building, everything. But Alina was already ahead of him. He's playing with us now, and he's not just choosing victims anymore. She hesitated. He's choosing opponents. Mark's stomach twisted. Where did you get this? It was mailed to my office. No return address. Mark grabbed his phone. We're pulling everything, phone records, security footage around your building, everything. But Alina was already ahead of him. He's playing with us now, and he's not just choosing victims anymore. She hesitated. He's choosing opponents. The next 24 hours were a blur of interviews, data pulls, and sleepless panic. Mark barely left the station. His mind replayed the image of that lipstick message over and over again. One of you is next. He looked over at Alina, sitting across the room, her face bathed in the pale glow of her laptop. She was tracing threads, psychological patterns, stalking methods, potential trauma histories, but her fingers trembled slightly on the keyboard. Suddenly, a message popped up on the department's internal server. No sender, no trace. Just 3 words. Check the alley. Mark bolted upright. He grabbed his gun, signaled to a nearby officer, and within minutes, he and Alina were in the dark alley behind the police building. There, pinned to the brick wall with a small hunting knife, was another photo. It showed Mark's apartment door. Last night. Closed, but unmistakable. And written across the image in black ink, "You didn't lock it." Adrenaline surged through Mark's chest like ice. "I didn't lock it," he said aloud, as if it would make it true. Alina didn't answer. They drove to Mark's place in silence. Every turn felt like it could lead to something waiting in the shadows. Every headlight felt like a warning. When they entered his apartment, everything was normal. No signs of a break-in, no mess, no missing items. Until he walked into his bedroom. On the pillow lay a single red rose, and beside it, a white envelope. No stamp, no handwriting. Inside a USB drive, Mark inserted it into his laptop with shaking fingers. The screen flickered. A video opened. Black and white, grainy. It was footage of him sleeping. From inside the room, the killer had been there, watching him, just a few feet away. The final frame of the video showed a close-up of Mark's face, peaceful, breathing softly. Then, a voice, distorted, low, familiar. "Soon, you'll smile too." Mark couldn't sleep, not after seeing that video. The fact that the shadow had stood next to his bed, close enough to kill and didn't, was more disturbing than any murder. He wasn't ready to strike. He was savoring it. Alina stayed over, both for protection and strategy. Together, they combed through the footage, trying to find clues, a reflection, a sound, a flicker of movement. But the shadow was meticulous. Then, just before dawn, Alina whispered, "He doesn't want to kill us like the others. He wants us to see it coming. He wants us to fear it." Over the next 3 days, more messages arrived. To their phones, to the walls near the station, even written in condensation on Mark's car windshield. "Smile for the end." Victim number 5 was found 2 days later, a school counselor. Same smile, same calmness, but this time, a twister phone was left unlocked. Open to a chat app, a message still on the screen. "Shadow, do you believe in peace before death?" Victim, "Who is this?" Shadow, "You will understand when you smile." And then, nothing. Mark and Alina traced the number. It led to a burner phone purchased in a corner store. But security footage from the shop shocked them. The person who bought it? Alina, or rather, someone who looked like her. But this time, a twister phone was left unlocked. Open to a chat app, a message still on the screen. "Shadow, do you believe in peace before death?" Victim, "Who is this?" Shadow, "You will understand when you smile." And then, nothing. Mark and Alina traced the number. It led to a burner phone purchased in a corner store. But security footage from the shop shocked them. The person who bought it? Alina, or rather, someone who looked like her. They dug deeper. The forensic team enhanced the footage. And then it all fell into place. The jawline, the eyes, the posture. It wasn't Alina. It was her twin sister. Alina went pale. I don't have a sister, but the birth record said otherwise. She had a twin, given away at birth, never adopted, in and out of state care, multiple name changes. One stuck out: Alina Shevchenko, arrested 4 years ago for stalking and assault, diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, released after 18 months, and off the radar since.
Alina's face was blank as the truth unraveled. She was in the shadows my whole life, watching me live the life she was never given. She copied me, stalked me, and now... Mark finished the sentence for her. She's punishing you. Through them. Suddenly everything made sense. The victims weren't random. Each of them had some fleeting link to Alina. A student from a seminar, a patient she evaluated, a mutual acquaintance. This wasn't just a killing spree. It was a revenge story. The final move came fast. A call from dispatch. Break-in at Alina's old apartment, the one she hadn't used in years. They arrived to find it dark, quiet, empty. Except for one thing. A chair, facing a camera, and a timer counting down. 00:01:47. 00:01:46. On the wall behind the chair, written in thick black ink. Only one gets to smile. A shadow stepped into frame. Lena. Identical to Alina, but with dead eyes and a cruel smirk. She sat, looked straight into the lens. Hello, sister. I hope you're watching. This is the part where I smile, and you suffer. She raised a pistol to her temple. Mark lunged for the door, but it was rigged, sealed. The timer hit 0. A single shot echoed through the building. The footage ended. Lena was gone. The horror, the killings, the messages, they stopped. But the scars didn't. Mark took leave from the force. Alina moved away. They never spoke again. But years later, Mark would wake up in the middle of the night, breathless, heart pounding. And sometimes, on the bathroom mirror, he'd find a message in the fog. Still watching. And once, just once, he swore he saw a figure in the crowd. Smiling,